What's going on?
Is anybody else here?
Please, sir, I don't want any trouble.
Is anybody else?
The narrative unfolds in 1956 within the confines of a seemingly modest and tranquil fashion boutique situated in Chicago. The proprietor of this establishment is none other than Leonard Burling, an elderly individual who hails not from the United States but is, in fact, a British expatriate who relocated to the US a few years back. Prior to his venture in Chicago, Leonard had an extensive tenure at the preeminent fashion emporium in London. His decision to transplant himself was driven by various factors. Upon establishing his own fashion emporium in Chicago, Leonard enlisted the assistance of Mabel Shawn, a woman of striking beauty. The garments emanating from Leonard's boutique have achieved widespread acclaim in Chicago, capturing the attention and patronage of numerous affluent families in the city. Notably, the Boyle family stands out as steadfast patrons of Leonard's establishment. Renowned for their influence and prominence, the Boyle family is recognized as one of the most formidable mafia groups within the city of Chicago. The Boyle family was a frequent presence at Mr. Leonard's establishment, often either commissioning suits or dispatching letters via the shop's mailbox. Deliberately placed by Mr. Leonard, the mailbox served as a conduit for customers to leave tips or messages for the broader city. On a particular evening, Richie Boyle, the sole heir of the Boyle family, arrived at Mr. Leonard's shop to retrieve the letters dispatched by their correspondent. Accompanying Richie was Francis, a confidant of the Boyle patriarch. Unfazed by their presence, Mr. Leonard remained focused on his tailoring duties, displaying no curiosity regarding the contents of the Boyle family's letters. Within one of the missives, Francis stumbled upon a communication from a mafia organization known as the Outfit. Subsequently, Richie requested Mr. Leonard to momentarily vacate the premises, deeming the letter confidential. Meanwhile, in the shop's lobby, Mabel presented Mr. Leonard with a snowball-shaped gift, explaining that it was sent by an acquaintance of hers. Mabel has a penchant for collecting snowball souvenirs featuring picturesque places worldwide, like the Eiffel Tower or Big Ben, fueled by her desire to explore the globe. She marveled at Mr. Leonard's choice of Chicago as his home despite the option to set up shop anywhere. Following Richie and Francis's departure, Mr. Leonard shared that an individual from the neighboring clock shop sought an introduction to Mabel. However, Mabel, already close to someone, wasn't interested. Mr. Leonard inferred a special connection between Mabel and Richie, noting their flirtatious interactions while folding a napkin. Concerned about Richie's mafia ties and penchant for violence, Mr. Leonard cautioned Mabel to be cautious. Mabel acknowledged the Boyles' dangerous reputation but believed she could handle Richie. She then expressed a desire for a raise to save up for her dream of traveling the world. Mr. Leonard mentioned the possibility of a raise for Mabel, contingent on her improving skills, particularly in tasks like properly folding washcloths. After closing the shop, Mabel headed home, while Mr. Leonard opted to stay for additional tasks. In the late hours, Mr. Leonard dozed off at his desk, dreaming about his family's past in flames. He awoke to the sound of his shop door opening, discovering Mabel and Richie, who coincidentally chose the same place for an evening together. This confirmed Mr. Leonard's suspicion about their romantic involvement. That night, Richie shared details about his adopted brother, Francis, who suspected a traitor in their family leaking information to the rival mafia group, La Fontaine. Richie harbored resentment towards Francis, as his father, Roy Boyle, consistently trusted Francis more than his own biological son. Richie never considered Francis as a true brother or part of his family. To him, Francis was merely a stranger who once saved his father from 6 bullets. Richie suspected that his father made Francis a confidant out of a sense of indebtedness. During a conversation between Richie and Mabel, Mr. Leonard accidentally made a noise, drawing their attention. Despite this, Mr. Leonard skillfully returned to his desk, feigning sleep. To avoid disturbing him, Mabel took Richie out of the shop. Days later, Richie and Francis returned to Leonard's shop for their weekly mail pickup. On this occasion, they discovered an envelope from the Outfit, a mafia group, containing a letter and a cassette. Subsequently, they hurriedly reported the situation to Mr. Roy. Later that evening, Francis and Richie urgently returned to Mr. Leonard's shop. Francis, carrying the injured Richie with a gunshot wound, sought refuge in the back room where Mr. Leonard worked. Francis contacted Mr. Roy, explaining that they had been attacked by the La Fontaine mob group and were hiding in Leonard's shop. Mr. Roy assured them he would come to pick them up. Francis then requested Mr. Leonard's help to stitch up Richie's wound, aiming to stop the bleeding. Initially hesitant due to his lack of experience in stitching wounds, Mr. Leonard ultimately undertook the task, drawing upon his limited combat knowledge. Richie, overcome by excruciating pain, lost consciousness during the procedure, vividly recalling the absence of anesthesia during the stitching. Having successfully sutured Richie's wound, Mr. Leonard managed to halt the bleeding. Meanwhile, Francis took a tape from a suitcase and entrusted Richie's care to Mr. Leonard temporarily. Despite Mr. Leonard's reluctance to be entangled in the Boyle family's troubles, Francis insisted on Richie remaining, asserting that the shop was currently the only secure refuge. Francis, pressed for time, needed to locate a cassette player to decipher the tape's contents. He disclosed that the tapes contained wiretap recordings of a Boyle family member, suspecting internal betrayal and collaboration with the FBI. The alleged traitor, Francis believed, planted a bug in a frequented Boyle location. Originally planning to play the tape elsewhere, Francis and Richie were ambushed by La Fountain group members, resulting in Richie's injury. Numerous Mafia factions are eager to obtain the tapes to dismantle the Boyle family. Consequently, Francis urgently needs to procure a cassette player to unveil the identity of the traitor within their ranks. Shortly after Francis departed, Richie regained consciousness. Mr. Leonard, claiming awareness of the tape and the family traitor tale from Francis, inquired if Richie harbored suspicions toward any family member. Sewing cloth in his chair, Mr. Leonard proposed that the traitor might be someone close to the Boyle family but not a Boyle themselves. Surprisingly, Mr. Leonard then confessed to being the traitor who leaked information to their adversaries. Richie, initially silent, burst into laughter, dismissing the revelation as a joke. Joining in the laughter, Mr. Leonard continued to sew. Richie argued that Mr. Leonard couldn't be a traitor, being just an ordinary tailor. In response, Mr. Leonard clarified that he wasn't a tailor but a cutter, emphasizing the distinction. According to him, anyone with thread and needle could be a tailor, whereas he had years of education at the Row, renowned as the world's finest fashion store. Mr. Leonard spent an extended period as an apprentice before gaining permission to establish his own shop. Subsequently, he broached the subject of Francis' determination to uncover the family traitor, suggesting the possibility that Francis himself might be the traitor. Shortly afterward, Francis returned to Leonard's shop. Prior to Francis meeting Richie, Mr. Leonard subtly informed Francis that Richie suspected him of treachery, and Richie had inspected the suitcase left earlier. In essence, Mr. Leonard played a strategic role between Richie and Francis, sowing suspicion between them. Influenced by Mr. Leonard's earlier remarks, Richie interrogated Francis, questioning why, among the shots fired by La Fountain's men, only he was hit while Francis remained unscathed. Francis attributed it to luck and proposed immediately screening the tape, but Richie insisted on waiting for his father. Tensions escalated, leading to a physical altercation over the tape until both Richie and Francis realized the suitcase was empty. This realization prompted them to aim guns at each other. Richie attempted a shot that went astray, while Francis's bullet found its mark, fatally hitting Richie in the neck. Swiftly, Francis searched for the tape Richie had purportedly concealed. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Roy and his associates arrived at Mr. Leonard's shop, prompting a bit of panic. Mr. Roy urgently requested Mr. Leonard's assistance in concealing Richie's body and buying time to clean the floor stained with Richie's blood. By the time Mr. Roy entered the shop, the floor was pristine, affording Francis ample time to craft a false narrative about Richie's whereabouts. Francis explained that Richie had departed with a tape from the outfit without disclosing his destination. Responding to Mr. Roy's directive, Francis was tasked with locating Richie and bringing him back. As they waited, Mr. Roy engaged Mr. Leonard in conversation, revealing the existence of the outfit, the world's largest mafia organization with global networks. He clarified that the Boyle family had received an alliance offer from the outfit, owing to their fearless stance against La Fountain. The outfit aided the Boyles by dispatching the FBI wiretapping tape, enabling them to identify the traitor within the Boyle family. Mr. Leonard displayed surprise, questioning why Mr. Roy was sharing information about their group's affairs, given the previous lack of transparency. It turned out that Mr. Roy deduced Richie's presence at Leonard's shop due to his coat still hanging there. Knowing Richie wouldn't abandon his coat in winter, Mr. Roy suspected Mr. Leonard had something to conceal. Threatening Mr. Leonard with a gun, Mr. Roy demanded an explanation. Before Mr. Leonard could speak, Francis entered the room with Mabel. Fearing for Mabel's safety, Mr. Leonard explained that Richie, feeling inadequate for not shooting anyone while Francis took down 4 of La Fountain's men, returned to La Fountain's territory to prove his worth to Roy. Mr. Leonard clarified that Richie had prohibited him from divulging this information earlier to spare Mr. Roy from unnecessary worry. Mr. Roy then questioned Richie about Francis bringing Mabel. Francis asserted that Richie likely went to Mabel's house because she was his girlfriend. Upon hearing this, Mr. Roy inquired about Richie's current location from Mabel, but she confessed to being unaware of his whereabouts. Francis interjected, claiming to have spotted a bloodstain on Mabel's carpet, presumably from Richie. Mr. Roy, growing agitated, resorted to force in an attempt to extract the truth from Mabel. Witnessing the escalating situation, Mr. Leonard intervened to pacify Mr. Roy. It emerged that Mr. Leonard had experienced personal tragedy, losing both his wife and daughter in a fire, leading him to consider Mabel as his own daughter. Shortly thereafter, the phone rang, and Mr. Leonard answered. Richie, claiming to be hiding from La Fountain, provided an address for pickup at street number 31. Responding to this information, Mr. Roy and his men hurried to retrieve Richie. Francis opted to stay, pledging to look after Mr. Leonard and Mabel in case Richie deceived them. Subsequently, Mr. Leonard disclosed that he deliberately provided the address to expose Mr. Roy and his men to a potential attack by the La Fountain group. Additionally, he revealed that Mabel was the traitor they had been searching for all along. Having cultivated a close bond with Richie, Mabel seized numerous opportunities to gather intel on the Boyle family, subsequently leaking this information to La Fountain for financial gain. Aware that Francis would eventually uncover her actions, Mabel sought assistance from the FBI, aiming to wiretap and apprehend the entire Boyle family. This, she believed, would secure her safety as the FBI dismantled the Boyles. Mr. Leonard was privy to all of Mabel's plans and intentionally allowed them to unfold, understanding her aspiration to amass funds for global travel. Furthermore, he was the one concealing the tapes to shield Mabel. Soon after, La Fountain and his associates arrived at Leonard's shop to compensate Mabel for the tape. Prior to this exchange, Francis requested Mr. Leonard and Mabel to employ a code, intending to use the opportunity to exit the back room and eliminate La Fountain. Upon receiving the tape, La Fountain handed Mabel the agreed-upon money. Regrettably, Mabel and Mr. Leonard betrayed Francis, revealing his location to La Fountain. Consequently, Francis met his demise, succumbing to multiple gunshot wounds inflicted by La Fountain's men. Once La Fountain and his men departed, Mr. Leonard confessed to Mabel that he had loaded the tape and placed it in the mailbox labeled The Outfit, intending it for the Boyle family. In a strategic move to sow discord among the Boyles, Mr. Leonard ensured the cassette tape given to La Fountain was a decoy, replaced with his own voice recording. The authentic tape remains in Mr. Leonard's possession, intentionally safeguarded to enable Mabel to hand it over to the FBI. This calculated move aims to prompt the FBI to dismantle both the Mafia group within the Boyle family and the La Fountain organization. Advising Mabel to embark on world travels with the acquired funds, Mr. Leonard, that night, meticulously packed his belongings and set his entire shop ablaze to eradicate any incriminating evidence. Unexpectedly, Francis, who had survived, rose and fired at Mr. Leonard. Luckily, the shot missed, causing only an arm injury. In response, Mr. Leonard disclosed his true identity to Francis. Formerly a mobster akin to Francis, Mr. Leonard had escaped his boss's clutches and moved to London, yet tragedy struck when his family fell victim to an orchestrated fire. Seeking redemption, he relocated to Chicago to forge a new and virtuous life. The film concludes with a poignant scene of Mr. Leonard leaving his Chicago shop, symbolizing a fresh start in the pursuit of a better life. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.